Hey, what is up, you guys? It's Kim, and pretty recently on my Tumblr, I reblogged a post that said, "I should have known I was asexual when seeing kids grind against each other at high school dances made me nauseous." Now, I reblogged this post because I agreed with this post, and when I read that post, I was like, oh my god, that's me. So I wasn't the person who submitted that to the blog I reblogged it from, but when I read it, I felt like that could have been me. So by reblogging this post, I was basically saying to the 275 people who follow me and to anyone else who may ever come across my blog that I identify as asexual. And yes, I also still identify as a lesbian. So there's that. This seemed to confuse a few people, and I say that because of some of the asks I got afterwards. And I wanted to try to address those asks in a video, despite the fact that I've answered them on my Tumblr page. I was thinking that in a video, I might be able to express my thoughts in a way that is easier understood. Because when I sit there and I type at a computer, you don't see my facial expressions, you don't see what I'm trying to say, really. Like, you see the words, and that's it. There's no emotion, there's no anything, it's just words. And people read words and they put their own emotion, their own spin on it, and so I wanted to make a video and just kind of address these questions despite the fact that I've already answered them. Basically, an asexual person is someone who doesn't experience sexual attraction. That's it. No, we're not plants. We don't reproduce by budding. Just don't experience sexual attraction. That's just the way that we are. No, being asexual does not mean that you've never had sex before, and it doesn't mean that you don't ever have sex. It just means that you're not sexually attracted to anybody. So there are some asexual people who do in fact have sex. Every person is different. I do enjoy kissing. I do enjoy making out. It is quite good fun. I honestly, there's no interest in taking it further than that for me. And luckily for me, my girlfriend also identifies as asexual, so there's no pressure to do sexual things, as opposed to if an asexual person were in a relationship with a sexual person, there might be some sort of pressure there to do things that one party in the relationship is not entirely comfortable with. And I believe that this is referring to the fact that my girlfriend and I both identify as asexual. And no, a relationship where both parties identify as asexual is not necessarily nothing more than a close friendship. My girlfriend and I are more than just friends. It's more than just a friendship between us. For me, when I was growing up, during my teenage years, sex was something that I never gave a second thought, ever. It was never at the front of my brain. It was never something, I even considered. Obviously, as a teenager, I knew that I am living in a, sex-obsessed world. Like, the world is a sexual place. And I understand that. I know that. But I was just so out of tune with it, I guess. To the point where when a friend of mine told me that she had had sex for the first time, my initial reaction was, why? Because I could not, for the life of me, wrap my mind around the fact that people had sex for reasons other than just making babies. When I took health class in 11th grade, it was just incomprehensible to me that people had sex for fun. So, I think it was 11th grade, so I was about 16 years old, and it was just so difficult to wrap my head around that concept. It was at a time where most of my peers were sexually active, or they claimed to be sexually active. I don't actually know what they did in their spare time. For me, there was just a complete disinterest in it. I could think of 1,000,010 other different things that seemed much more appealing than having sex with somebody else. So in high school, I was still mostly closeted, and it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to have sex with guys. It was, I don't want to have sex with anybody. And at that time in high school, the logical thing in my mind was, oh, well, I still have a lot of growing up to do, but still at 22 years old, I have a complete disinterest in sex. I know there are some asexuals who are sex repulsed, and I hesitate to identify myself as that because I can watch a movie with a sex scene in it, and I'm just like, meh, whatever. But after, a minute or so, I'm just like, oh my god, seriously? They're still going at it? Like, just cut to a different scene, for crip's sake. But when I picture myself in a situation like that, the thought makes me feel physically ill. Like, it makes me feel sick to my stomach to picture myself in a sexual situation. In sexual relationships, I assume that one party does not like the other solely because they have sex together. I assume that they have sex because there are feelings involved. In any relationship, there is more than just one aspect to it. Even in a sexual relationship, a relationship is not just sex. There is so much more to it. And you know that you still have feelings for that person even if you're not, having sex. You don't stop thinking that the sun is a thing at nighttime. When the moon comes out, you don't say, oh, the sun doesn't exist anymore. You still know it's there. You still know what it feels like to be in the sun. You still know what it feels like to be warm and to have that warmth and that comfort. So, but how do I know I have feelings for her? I just do. I like being with her. I like spending time with her. I love spending time with her. Whether we're talking to each other on Skype or whether we're out bowling or at a concert or cuddling and watching Netflix. No matter what we're doing, I love being with her, and she makes me smile, and she's amazing. And it's just, you just know, So I hope that answers those questions a little bit better than I did when I typed out answers. I know I gave basically the same responses, but I was hoping that by saying them out loud, it might have a little bit more meaning and be a little bit better understood. So, yeah. That's that. Asexual lesbian out. Okay. Bye, you guys. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And thanks for being amazing. Bye.